this is what we're up to. If you were watching it the last time when I kicked over this Interceptor, and it hadn't been started for about, I think, something like about 6 weeks, I noticed it was a bit slow on the kick over, which indicated to me that the battery was on its way out, as in down on charge. And I decided after that, even though I'd fitted these sportier exhausts on it, the smart idea would probably be not take it out on any runs and probably pull a battery or put a battery tender on it and then bring it up to full charge and then think about doing this run. So at this stage, I think today I will fit the battery tender to it, bring it up to full charge before I worry about taking it out, and this is how I'm going to go about it. Okay, we're looking at this as a dual purpose hit. So first off, I've removed the right cover, which is key operated, pull the seat, undo this screw and knock out this cover. So when you come to it, this stage here, naturally you'll remove the toolkit like so. You've got 3 bolts and they have to be removed. They're 10mm. While I think of it, back over here in this section here, this will be 4mm Allen head, and you've got to get that out of the way naturally to get this side cover off. And when I said this is going to be a dual purpose hit, if I'm going to play around in this area, I might as well fit the booster plug back onto the bike, because I really want the booster plug going if I'm going to run this bike with these sports exhausts on it. So the booster plug has to be connected in this area here, which I'll go into. It's a very quick fit. So we'll get these out of the way. Okay, we've got a nice clear view of the battery here, which is still fully connected. Before we do anything, we're going to do 2 things. One, we're going to go over here, remove the key out of the ignition so there's no problems there with anything going wrong. And number 2, when we come down into here, see this connector here? First off, we'll disconnect this one first, then we'll come down through the top, flip this cover over the negative terminal out of the way, and come down through the top and disconnect the negative terminal. So to make that clear, once again with the Enfield or the Interceptor, always disconnect negative first, and when you come back you'll put your positive on first and then come back out and put your negative lead on last. You can see now that's a very easy disconnect between that and that one, so that's out of the way. Now using the screwdriver, coming in from the top, we will undo the negative. Might have to go for a longer screwdriver, but I'll be back. So there we have it, one of them's out of the way, so just over now to the positive side. The positive side will be a lot easier to get at, so all I've got to do is flick back this rubber cap, close the top part of the Phillips head screw, come in from the top again, like so, and crack her open. Just have to take the camera off now so I can get it in case I drop it. And this exercise is probably about as far as I want to go, because I'm getting to the stage now where I start putting the adapter for the trickle charge on each of the terminals. But if I wanted to remove this battery totally, I think all I'd have to do is go and 1, undo this nut here, and then 2, most likely release this strap which holds the battery secure from one side to the other. I haven't had this battery out before, but I'd say that's what you would do. and then you can just slide the battery out. But I'm not going to pull the battery out, I have no reason to, so at this stage that's what I'd think if I had to remove the battery out totally. Okay, it was a bit of a tight fit, but I've got the red terminal on with the trickle charger on this particular one, and I can just bring her over now, clip it back in position, and that all looks good in that area. So all good there. What we'll do, we'll get on to fitting of the booster plug. I'm not going to worry about fitting the DNA filter at this stage because I'm not going to run the bike with the DNA filter, just the booster plug. So there's the booster plug there. It's a simple connector there which goes into the airbox plus your sensor. So if we come back up here to the top part of the bike, you'll see there's two connectors. There's one connector there and there's one over to the far right, which is a more boxy type connector. Don't touch that one. So if you look at this one here, in my case it's got a yellow and white wire on it, where this one over here's got virtually a four pin connector. But more importantly, if you trace that wire there and it comes down as I'm pulling on it like so, it goes into the airbox there. So it's pretty simple to get the right one, and usually this plug sits back in under here, so that's the one you go for. Unplugged, I'll just clip them together like so. One clip and back over and do the other one. Okay, if you check now, they're both connected. I can feed that booster plug controller back down into there, in there like so. Bring my sensor down through here. Hard on the one-handed job, but that's all about it. Can run it up through the top, underneath, and I'll secure it in the end roughly about there. So that's where I'll do the securing. That's how quick it is to fit the booster plug. Some people think that they may work and they may not on the Interceptors after a while, but you know, like, I haven't tried it long enough to tell you exactly whether it's definitely a goer and it does work, or whether something goes wrong in the ECU on these Interceptors, which is more advanced than a classic 500, out tunes it or something in the end. But I haven't tested it for that long. But the fact is, I think to put the sports exhaust on it, some fuel enricher is a little bit better than none at all, so nothing goes wrong and you burn out the valves, or you've got some safety precaution there to at least try. So you know, be just made up your mind whether you want to use one or not, and if you don't want to use one, no harm done. This negative ground cupola here, make sure when you put your negative wire back on last, your terminal, make sure you connect this, because if you haven't got that ground wire connected, well, naturally the bike's not going to kick off and run down the road for you. So what we're going to do next is connect the cupola, which I mentioned earlier. If you want the bike to go, connect that one up. Do a tie clip here on the side for my trickle charger outlet. Come back down to the booster plug sensor, wrap that around. I think I'll run it off this point here, then I'll virtually tie those two together. Swing over the other side and connect everything up. Then I'll hook up the trickle charger and just see what the battery reading is on this particular bike, and then see if I was down on power and if it really needs a charge, or if I was totally off course and didn't know what I was talking about. I've had two of these now. Now I'm not going to get in and recommend and say this is the best charger on the market, because in actual fact the first one of these I had broke down probably after 2 years, and when I say broke down, if you look at the mode selection button here, after a while, or after around that 2 year mark, mine went into a freeze type mode, and every time I press that mode button I just couldn't get it to move through any of the cycles down the bottom, whether it was motorcycle, car or the batteries, and it was just a problem overall to do that particular cycle. So I ended up tossing it out and bought this one here again, because apart from that, it did actually charge the batteries well, and I had no drama with it whatsoever. But I did find out later on YouTube that if mine was the first version, which it was too late after I tossed it, the first version you could unscrew it from 2 screws at the back of the unit and hit it with a bit of lubricant on the panel or something like that, and then the button would free up and move through the modes. But it's a bit late once you toss it, so you can't go back to that side of it. So you know, I'm not saying these are worth going out and buy. I've just got one in stock, and it's got a motorcycle mode again. There it is there, and I can use that as a trickle charger, or I can use that as a charger. But not only that, I have got the Ctek charger in what they call the, I think it's a 0.8 amp, which is specifically designed to charge or keep a charge on a trickle charge on a motorcycle battery. And as soon as I find that particular charger wherever I put it, I would use that on the motorcycle for a trickle overnight charge, and that is the correct one, what they, you know, like make for motorcycles and ATVs and stuff like that. It's a fairly simple fit, so it'll just pull my battery out. This will go to your positive, the red, back over to the negative. Your lead goes out to the side of the motorbike. Then after that, if you want to go out and charge the battery, or you think it needs a charge, just plug her into the connector and you're ready to roll. Okay, we'll check this out now. 5 hours later, I've got the green light, so this battery I'd class as fully charged, so I can get her now and give her a bit of a kick over. So all's complete on this line. First to see if it starts, and there's no trouble lights. All appears good and working fine, so that ends that. So what's next for this bike? Well, at around 3,500 kilometres, I did a oil change on this bike with semi-synthetic in the Penrite brand, and the bike's done 5,600 kilometres now. At around 6,000 kilometre mark, I'll do a complete oil and filter change, and the reason behind that is that I want to fit the sump guard to the bike, and if I go ahead and fit the sump guard now, it's going to be a bit of a hassle to pull the sump guard again and then do the oil change. So I figured I'll run it to $6,000, do the oil and filter change, then I'll put the new sump guard on it, then I'll be able to run it up to 10, trouble free in that respect, and I won't have to worry about being caught up in that. But apart from that, that's the only other plan there at the moment on that line. But then again, you know, these plans could change. Now, on the other, if you'd like what you've seen at the moment and you enjoyed the bit of content what we're throwing out today on this, on the fitting of the trickle charger leads, which I think is a good move for anyone that's got one of these bikes. I should have done this a long time ago. By all means, if you're interested, subscribe to the channel, it'd be appreciated, and I'm always looking for new subs, so you know, if it interests you, there's always something happening on this channel. So once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look, and I'll catch up with you on the next clip.